Good morning. So, wow, it's a big room. I'm very proud to be here again to continue the story of Rabobank's journey together with Wouter. I said continue and again, and you might now think, well, this is a familiar story vaguely. Well, I was here last year as well, and I think we did a nice talk on our start with Pivotal Cloud Foundry at Rabobank. So you might now wonder, is this guy really all that Rabobank has to offer? Well, no. Luckily, we also have Wouter with us today, who also likes to talk a bit. So he was at JSpring this year. And actually, I'm showing this because the things we tell are part of a bigger story. And that's the story I'll continue today. So, at Rabobank in 2018, we introduced Cloud Foundry. And with Cloud Foundry, the idea is that as a developer, you build your app, you push it to the platform puts it in a container for you, runs it on a VM somewhere, and you just don't care about it anymore. And if you want to scale it up, you just say, give me a couple more instances. That's the basic idea of what we try to achieve. And why do we do this? Because we have a lot of DevOps teams, and we want the DevOps teams to focus on the business functionality. You shouldn't care about all the middleware-ish kind of stuff. So, the idea here is the way we want to do this is we have a single platform team, and the platform team manages the platform, and they try to raise the bar raise the abstraction level of the platform continuously, so that there are many teams, all DevOps teams, treating the infrastructure as basic commodity. Just put their stuff on it and run it. Today we have one platform team, and it manages it for many teams. That's the basic idea. A single Cloud Foundry foundation is very highly resilient. It's all, and with that I mean very robust. It won't ever crash your app, or it can crash your app, but it will start up again. So how it works is you deploy an app, it will be spun up in a container. If you spin up multiple apps or multiple containers, it will automatically put them on different VMs, and those VMs are actually spread across multiple data centers or the availability zones. That's the basic working of the platform. And you simply don't even have to care about it anymore. If a container goes down, the platform will spin up one automatically again. If a VM goes down, it will move containers, spin up a new VM. We can migrate VMs to newer versions, all that kind of stuff without any downtime and any care of the DevOps teams doing that. So this is very highly resilient. So of course, at Rabobank, we have two in production. And last year I also told this. We have two in production for two reasons: to prevent human errors. Even though all the upgrades are automated, we can still make mistakes in that, and we don't want to bring down we don't want to impact our customers. And another reason was to be truly highly available, because we have PCF, Pivotal Cloud Foundry, running on Microsoft Azure, and at the time Microsoft Azure was not yet availability zone aware. That's now fixed, so that problem is gone. And because of that, we did a couple of other things. But we still have to prevent the human errors. So what did we do in a year? So, for example, as I just said, we introduced, with the introduction of availability zones, we were able to move our second foundation, which was in North Europe, to West Europe. So it's now all in one region, which for our developers makes it a lot easier, because things like databases, sharing state, becomes a lot simpler. What we're also doing, or have done, is introduce a distributed cache and temporary storage on the PCF foundation. So next to it, there's now Hazelcast distributed data grid, and teams can just, with a simple pull request, can get some data. You write it in one, and it can be read in the other. It's all highly available. Things can go down, it's all fine. What we also have been doing is a lot of PCF upgrades. So we try to keep up with the latest version always, introducing new build packs. So it's fine to run Java 11 on the platform. You can do that today. Try that at some other companies. We do a lot of tweaks and optimizations. For example, we replaced all the VMs to have to perform better, and none of the application teams actually noticed that. And as lastly, we're also now working on getting PCF on AWS, which, if we have it running for development teams, it actually doesn't really matter where you're working at, because it actually works the same way. So we're continuously improving that. And we're doing really well. If you look back a year now, at JFall 2018, I was here, And the line is actually straight in the middle. We started in January 2018. You see that there's a continuous growth on the platform. We now have over 2,500, is that right? No. 2,500 instances running in production and in dev test. Over 200 teams are using the platform today. And if you wonder what the little dip is about, that's about where we moved the foundation from one region to another, and we have to ask every team to redeploy their apps. Which took a bit of time, even though. So that maybe means that they didn't automate all of that. So we're doing really well. I can talk about this for hours and hours, probably bore you to death with that. We thought it would be better to actually show you how it works. So that's what Wouter's going to do.
Awesome.
Good luck, Wouter.
Thank you. So before I go into demonstrate something, I want to talk about what PCF does for us, because I'm a developer, and when you change from local to production, the game changes. It's no longer about purely the application. There's more to it. For instance, now you need to really think about your runtime. Which version of Java am I using? You mentioned 11. Well, we were trying to push to 12. Do you want to keep up with patches of Java? And also patches to your OS. And even if you're in a container, your container will use some kind of library. So you need to keep that up. You want traffic to your application, so you need to think about routing. How do I expose my application to the outside world? And how do I scale it? For instance, based on load on a static number. And how do I extract logging from my applications? Because they're now running in the cloud. You don't know which machine, you don't know which container. How do I get that? And also, how do I push configuration to my application? Well, all this stuff is all very interesting. At the core, I'm a Java developer, software engineer, and I want to focus on building code. That's what I like to do. So this is fun, but I'd rather not do this. So the good thing is PCF handles this for me, which is awesome. But we've been talking about PCF for a while now, last year and now 10 minutes, and we thought we'd do it differently this time. So we're gonna demo something, and it's quite frightening because this is probably the scariest thing I've ever done. We're not gonna demo in a secure test-ish environment. No, we're gonna push on stage to production. So fingers crossed. So apparently half of you has a mobile phone. So if you go to this URL, you can see the app. However, you can't, because it's not there yet. And that's what we're going to fix now. So please try rabobank.com/jfold. Because I will as well. Does not exist, that's our default 404 page. So then the question is, what do we want to put live? Well, although this is mainly a Java conference, if I would build a Java app, a Spring Boot app, that would probably be a Hello World or something like that, and I didn't thought that was exciting. So in my spare time, I built a small game. I called it Flappy Duke, or you can imagine what it's based on. And it's just a static HTML application. And it's already been built, because I wanted to spare you the npm install and wait for half the internet to download. The application is working, and we only need to edit a file, a config file, so PCF knows what we want to do. So that file is called manifest.yaml, and we're in that now. So we need to do a couple of things. So first, we want to tell PCF that we want to deploy an application. Well, you can deploy multiple applications, but today we're only deploying one. And we're going to give it a name, JFold. Well, I'm told there are about 1,000 people in this audience, so we want to scale it a bit. So I assume 4 is enough. And then we need to tell PCF where it can find the application in our directory, and it's built in the dist directory, as you can see. So we refer to that. And now the optional part is, Vincent already mentioned it, is build packs. And build packs are basically a kind of runtime. And this is an optional part. I'm going to define it, but it's optional. Static file build back. Because if we don't specify this, PCF will scan the application you're trying to deploy, and based on what it finds, it automatically adds a build pack. So this is just static HTML. We use the static file build pack, but if I were to deploy a Java-based application, then we have a Java build pack. But that scanning takes a while, so in the interest of time, I'm going to define it. So that's it. Then we go to the command line, and we have two environments. And first, need to log in. By the way, I'm building this all just on my physical machine. It's not running in a VM or something. I have a VPN connection to production. So the first thing we're going to do is log in. And we have two environments, like Vincent mentioned, the P01 and P02. So first, we're going to log into P01. And this happens this way. We go to this awesome site. We use single sign-on to log in. We get a code, paste it, and we're logged in. Awesome. And now we're gonna deploy. So the command is pcf push, and then using the manifest file we just built, we're going to push it. You'll now see a lot of logging, and I'll hope to walk you through it here. So it's pushing new application with a static build file, build pack. It's uploading the application, of course. If we're at Rabobank, it's even faster than this. It's downloading the static build pack. Apparently, it's using Nginx. I wouldn't know. Adding the build artifact, starting some instances, waiting for the application to start, and ta-da! Now it's up and running, and it's been bound to the jfol.apps.pcf, which is our internal one, because the application name is jfol. If you try now, again, go to rabobank.com/jfol, who got it working? Actually, a couple of hands, not a lot, and that is to be expected. Because we have two environments, and we're currently not experiencing a data center loss, hopefully. So half the traffic goes to an environment where the application is not yet running. So let's fix that too. So the same login, only this time we're going to the P02 environment. Getting the code again with single sign-on. Logged in, and I'm pushing it again. So also here, there's a new application because it's separate environments. So what PCF does, it creates containers. So we have now 4 instances per environment. It binds the routes, and we have an edge router which handles external traffic from the internet to internal instances. It's creating the containers. And again, I don't know if this is just Docker or Rocket or any other container technology, and I really don't care because PCF handles that for me. And now it's up and running. And now the moment of truth. Let's see if it works. Oh yeah. One application deployed on stage to production.
Wow. So again, this might seem pretty simple, but remember we are a bank, right? So try that as your local bank. Important thing here, Wouter, I have to correct you on one thing because you said we are not experiencing a data center loss, so we should still be fine on half. But actually, what would have happened if we had a data center loss? Well, actually nothing, because PCF is availability zone aware. Our applications already run on multiple availability zones. So you deployed 4 instances, so that means that with the 3 availability zones or 3 data centers, we actually have at least 2 instances running, even if a data center goes down. Right, so that's and now we even doubled it. So you should not be able to break this with 8 instances running, serving out some static content. I think we're okay, but this is not an invitation to try. So, and of course we cheated, right? Because I already mentioned we are a bank, and this is not how we work. The basic thing that Wouter showed was a CF push, and the goal of that was to show you actually how the platform works, and we can show you all the CI, CD, all the stuff that we do on top, all the Jenkins build pipelines and deployment pipelines, but in the end, it's just typing in those commands for us, right? So that was the intent to show. So we didn't show you all of that. We didn't show you test automation, not the quality gates we have to go through, not the really long and boring paper trail we have to always go through at a bank. And those things, of course, always happen. But there are also a lot of things you don't ever have to see again. Things like virtual machines or containers or application servers. That one is down. I'm back. And load balancers, those are gone. You saw a push and there was a route automatically. You could go to it. It runs on containers. You simply don't care about the containers. And of course, I make this point all the time. People who know me know that I do, so I'm going to do it again anyway. Things like Kubernetes are very, very important technologies, but they should not keep us busy as developers. We should be just pushing apps and don't care about anything underlying. So good news, for example, is that PCF itself is moving to Kubernetes as the underlying container platform, but nothing changes for any of the developers. You just CF push and it works. So those things are gone. So you can be up and running in minutes, as you just saw, in production. So wouldn't you like that too? No. There's a way to do that. Come work with us. So enjoy your day. I want to thank all the teams at Rabobank who made this possible. There's been a lot of work in the background to make it happen. There actually was a production incident last night. I don't know if anybody noticed it. I think we made nu.nl. I promise it had nothing to do with what we were doing here. Nothing at all. Special kudos to teams Panzer, Maui, and What About for helping us out on this. Please rate our talk. And also check out Martin Visser and Erwin Cavas later today when they talk about how they migrated a big app on PCF to a new technology stack. Finally, come join us at the booth. We'll be there. If you have any questions, if there's other things you want to do, join us there and play Flappy Duke. And maybe you can win something. Thank you.